Hello and welcome to today's maths lesson. We're going to be looking at some subtraction and we're going to look at formal methods of subtraction. This is aimed at both my group and Mrs. Vary's group and Mrs. Woolston's group. So what we'll do is we'll all start together and then we'll go through some activities, and I will tell you the activities that are aimed primarily at my group and the activities that can be completed by all of the groups. So let's get started. Have a look at this image and see, can you work out which one doesn't belong? So we're looking at the image here using the blocks, we're looking at using the place value counters, and we're looking at the formal written method. Which one of these will produce a different answer or uses different numbers in the calculation? So the place value image doesn't belong as it has an end result, an answer of 2,234. Whereas the base 10 pieces show 1,111 being taken away, leaving 1,234, and so does the column subtraction. Okay, so here's another example here. We've got 2,275 take away 1,028. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the right-hand side. We start with the digit 5, and we ask ourselves 5 take away 8. Well, we can't do that because we need the number or the digit on the top to be larger than the digit on the bottom. To make that happen, we need to borrow, or exchange is the correct way we're going to say it. We're going to exchange one of our 10s for 10 of our 1s, which means we now have 10 extra 1s here, so we have 15. We can now do the 15 take away the 8. Because we've exchanged 1 from the 10s, we need to make sure we change it to 1 less. So it's instead of a 7, it's now a 6. So we do 15 take away 8, then we can do the 6 take away 2, and we can carry on all the way through the calculation, starting from right, moving to the left. Final answer, 1,247. Okay, so using what I've just shown you and just talked about, have a look at this question here. Can you see where we are going to need to exchange? Pause for a second. Okay, so we can do the 8 take away 5 because the 8 is larger than the 5. However, we can't do 2 take away 7 because the 2 is smaller. Therefore, we are going to exchange 1 of the hundreds for 10 tens because there are 10 tens in 100. And we can carry on from there. So it ends up looking like this. We've exchanged one of the hundreds for 10 tens, which means we now have 12 take away 7. And because we've taken one away from here, or we've exchanged it, we're left with 2. We can then complete the calculation. Another one again. See if you can have a go at this one. Okay. Again, we're exchanging. Same process. We end up with 2,422. Alright, task 1. This is aimed at all 3 maths groups. Have a go at completing these 3 questions, please. You will need to do some exchanging as you go. Pause the video now and do these in your books or on a piece of paper, please. Okay, here are your answers. See if you got them correct. If you did, give them a tick. And activity 2 is very similar, but this time we're working with a bit more exchanging. So, pause the video now. This is slightly trickier. Have a go. Okay, and your solutions are here. Okay, activity 3. We're giving you a word problem now. We're still going to use the exact same method of formal column subtraction, but this time it's used a slightly different wording. It says for A, find the difference between 7,524 and 1,382. Now, when it asks you to find the difference, all it's actually asking you to do is to take one away from the other. And because we're finding the difference, we're going to take the large number and take away the smaller number. You can do that using the method we just talked about. The same is true for B. How much greater is 9,748 than 2,926? That's essentially asking you how much more is the first number than the second number. To work that out, we can use the first number and take away the second number. Have a go if you can. And here are your answers. Okay, activity 4 is aimed primarily at my group. However, by all means, Mrs. Woolston, Mrs. Vary's group, have a go. It's a slightly more complex word problem. Have a look at them on the screen, see if you can work out how to solve them. I'll talk you through them in a second. Okay, so a supermarket sold 4,357 citrus fruit last week. They sold 985 oranges and 1,100 limes. The rest of them that were sold were lemons. How many lemons did the supermarket sell last week? So we've got our total amount of sold citrus fruit, which is 4,357. We have 3 possible fruits that were sold. We have the oranges, the limes, and the lemons. We know how many oranges were sold. We know how many limes were sold. We don't know how many lemons were sold. To work out the lemons, we can take the oranges away from the total and then take the limes away from the total. The number that is left is how many lemons were sold, because we know there were only 3 fruit sold. And here's your answer for both of them. Okay, activity 5, this is aimed at my group. So by all means, please have a go if you can. Solution will be coming up in a second. Here are all of the possible solutions you could have had. Now this one here is a straightforward subtraction. So I think both, or all 3 groups rather, can have a go at this. It just requires you to do a little bit more in regards to exchanging. So I'd like all of you to have a go at these 2, please, and see how you get on. And here are your answers. Two more word problems, again, aimed primarily at my group. See if you can have a go at them. The answers will be coming up in a second. And your answers are here for you. And once again, 2 more word problems. See if you can have a go at them. And here are your solutions. A couple more. I'm not going to worry about these too much. I'm going to move on because you've already had a good practice at that. Now this one is quite good, and I think all 3 groups can have a go at this. The calculation has been completed, but the question asks you, can you see any mistakes? So what I'd like you to do is have a look through it and see if you can work out where the error might have been made. Okay, so we start from right to left and we work our way along to see if there's been any errors. So 3 take away 3 is 0, so that's correct. We've got here 0 take away 3, which he obviously couldn't do. So the 5 has been exchanged. 100 has become 10 tens. We now have 10 take away 3, which is 7. Okay. However, what he forgot to do on this one was he forgot to change this to a 4 because he's exchanged one of them. So on the original, he ended up with 1, when actually it would become 4. 4 take away 4 would be 0, and then the rest is correct. And a final challenge for my group to have a go at. See if you can complete it. And here's the answers. Okay, so that was math lesson today. Obviously, the activities you'll complete might take you a little while. Please do them in your books or onto a sheet of paper. We look forward to seeing them.